Alright, 2 years ago I made my first music video. Now, I've only actually made 3 music videos since then, so when I upload those to YouTube, don't expect them to be, much better. But I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about, what I learned from that, mostly for documenting so I can look back on this and think, oh, how interesting that was, and show it to my kids when I'm 80 years old. But also maybe somebody out there can learn from it. Don't mind my notepad here. Since this is the first video I'm uploading to YouTube, I figured I'd write a list about what I want to talk about so I don't forget anything. Anyway, the guy I made the music video for, I actually went to high school with him. His name is Zach Sutton, though his artist name is Life Liaison. Thought that was pretty cool. I didn't actually know what the word liaison meant, or I had never really heard of it before doing the music video, and in fact I still don't really know what it means. And I was going by Solomon Production at the time. That's my last name with production at the end, but I got rid of that because I thought it was pretty lame. And so I'm going to come up with something a little more creative here pretty soon. Anyway, I think what we'll do is I'm just going to play through the video, maybe stop it a couple times, and kind of explain a few things that went on. So, yeah, let's get to it.
Check my pulse. 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 Check my pulse.
Okay, first off, that beginning was a little rough. I should say that the camera I was running at the time is actually the camera I'm using right now. It's a Canon SL2, and it's the only camera I've ever had, so it's a really good camera. I don't think they make them anymore, so if you're trying to get one, it's going to be a bit more expensive. I did get mine refurbished directly from Canon, and it works great. I've never had a problem with it. I love this camera. In fact, all the lenses that I have for my camera, I did get refurbished off of the Canon website as well. Oh, and there was one I got from a pawn shop, but I don't really use that one that much. So the beginning of this video was a little rough. I was trying to use a Steadicam so I could go down the tunnel, walk toward him and then like turn toward his face and do kind of a cool shot there, using the leading lines and stuff that they teach you. But I was super broke at the time, which I still am, but a little less now. I picked up this off of Amazon. The brand is Raleno, if you can read that. There you are. I'm not really sure how it's pronounced. I got this Steadicam for about 50 bucks, and it is a piece of junk, let me tell you that. You can get your camera balanced on here, but it just doesn't work very well. It's not smooth when, like, the handle itself affects this, which it shouldn't. This should not affect anything. Nowadays I am using Glidecam XR Pro, and this is way better. I dropped about 700 bucks on this. It hasn't quite paid itself off yet, but now that I'm getting into video work again, I think it will. And it is just heavenly carrying around a camera on top of this thing. So much better than this piece of junk. So I would suggest any of those $40, $50 Steadicams that you find on Amazon, don't even go for it. You'll notice that I had a couple transitions in there. I didn't really like the vibe of that with this video, but I just had to use them because it would have been worse, basically. I got those transitions from Ryan Nangle because I edit on Final Cut Pro, and the guy's got tons of great YouTube tutorials, and he's got great transitions and LUTs and all sorts of effects that you can buy on his website. So like when I'm going towards Sutton and then it like transitions down to his shoes, I'm using a zoom in transition, a pan down transition, and the motion blur effect that makes it look a little bit more real. So those things are really great to have, just not necessarily for this music video. Alright, let's get back to it.
Double checking everything I ever wrote. Walking to a mess, better hit the road. It's like beast mode with the 24. Call your own shots like you J. Cole. Life ain't a beach down in Monaco. Need a consult when I wanna go. Get the permits for the episode. Trace my intent with an isotope. No one knocking me down, I need to vacate. You be switching it up, bringing the feng shui. I'll be leaving the heart, you be the valet. I'll be making a mess, I need a rest day. Stronger when I return, turning a blank page. Coming off of the bench, giving a pump fake. Please don't turn and then twist, making it sideways. Point it up to the one, knowing it always. Take my pulse. Check 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 my. Tell me it will be alright. Check my pulse. But if not, I will ride.
Alright, stopping you there, I gotta mention the biggest issue with this video is that I started it at the beginning of COVID in 2020. The first shot that I worked on with Life Liaison was in that tunnel, and all I had at the time was this kit lens. So you don't get quite the depth of field that you can with other lenses. That was a little bit rough. You'll notice the difference there between that and the alley scene. And it's a little more eye-catching. I tried to do some fancy things in the tunnel with zooming in and out to give it that weird effect, like his background is coming in around him or moving around him. And it didn't really look that cool. I suggest if you're ever going to do that, don't do it handheld, but actually have something like a Ronin where you can basically press a trigger and it'll zoom out for you. Speaking of the Ronin, I was using a Ronin S2 gimbal on the second shot, the one in the alleyway. It wasn't mine, so I don't have it anymore. But that thing was great. I definitely suggest using one of those for a music video. I liked doing the shot where I could move around the artist while he was moving a little bit. It makes the background move around with him, and it's just smooth on a motorized gimbal. You can definitely do that sort of thing with a Glidecam, but moving around too much is kind of hard unless you have a lot of practice, and then it doesn't look that great. That alley scene that I'm talking about, I actually shot months after the first one. By that time I had, well, the lens that I'm using right now, that's a prime 24mm lens, and I also had, I don't know where it is, but a prime 50mm lens, and that's the one that I had on the camera at the time. Now there was even more that COVID screwed up with this video, but I'll let you finish to the end before I explain that, because you'll wonder what's going on with the storyline in this video. Let's get back to it.
Life ain't a gift you could ever change. Blessings coming down from a higher place. Heart still beating at a steady rate. Gaze upon death, now I'm underage. Writing new lines like I'm Hemingway. Whole life's work in a dossier. Complete timeline lacing every page. Send all the chills down the vertebrae. World is feeding me lies, thinking they come true. Got my life on the line, needing a breakthrough. Blood leaving the veins into the corkscrew. Purpose in a disguise, got 'em I cling to. Searching all my ways, all that offends you. Change is gonna be hard, but I'ma push through. Dead to my old life, I will not miss you. Try to get me to turn and be like, who are you? Check my pulse.
Tell me it will be alright.
Check my pulse. Check my pulse.
But if not, I will ride.
Check my pulse. check my pulse.
Tell me it will be alright. But if not, I will write.
Alright, now that the video's over, I hope you liked it. For one, if you didn't, then I don't know, maybe let me know why down below. Whoever is watching this video probably knows more about camera work than I do, so any help is appreciated. But there's still that jet. Man, they just keep flying around all day out there. I wanted to go over, now that you've watched the whole video, just a couple more things that I kind of think I did well and that I didn't do well. One of the biggest ones was affected, like I was talking about earlier, by the whole COVID, pandemic thing. There were a lot of businesses shutting down at the time. Anyway, the storyline I had worked out is I actually met with this super good MMA / jiu-jitsu fighter named Mikey Zindler in Billings, Montana. That's where I was living at the time. He's pretty famous in the whole jiu-jitsu world, and I actually found footage of him on YouTube running at another guy, screaming in the ring, and I wanted to use that at the end of the video. I was also going to use this guy because he seemed pretty interested in the music video. At the beginning, kind of like getting knocked down in an alleyway and picking himself back up, and then I was gonna be in the gym watching him training and punching bags and rolling around with other people, and then by the end he's like this fighting machine, and that's kind of the storyline I wanted to follow. Unfortunately, all the gyms were closed at the time because of COVID. Nobody was allowed to go in a gym, and the one I wanted to use was specifically closed down, for good. I was not able to make that happen. Instead, I used footage of myself getting knocked down in an alleyway. I actually used the artist who wrote the song to throw down the wallet, like he had stolen from me, mugged me. I had to have him use his left hand and not put his right hand in there because it doesn't exist. Funny thing about that, actually, here's a picture from high school. I made him a hand once, and he was very happy about it. He wore it around all day. Anyway, that's me on the ground, and then I used myself training to fight in a portion of my dad's shop space where I had a punching bag hanging up, and if you know what you're looking at, you'll notice I have zero boxing technique in that video, but it's fine. And at the end I just used some random footage of a guy, I don't even remember his name, but some boxer just knocking people out, and I figured that kind of fits with what I was going with. So the video didn't quite turn out how I wanted with that whole storyline that I had planned out, but I don't know. I don't think it was too bad, for a first video. I thought the B-roll was pretty good of the alleyway, the raindrops hitting the puddle, and in the shop I had little clips of the punching bag swinging and all that sort of stuff. That kind of gives a bit more of an atmosphere to what you're looking at. And it helps so that the people watching the video don't just have to look at the artist's face the entire time. When filming myself in the shop space, there was a couple cool things that I like, at least. For example, when I'm punching the bag, it kind of looks like the camera's on a slider. Now, if you don't have a slider, because those are pretty expensive, and I didn't have one at the time, you can just use the Ken Burns effect and kind of do your own sliding effect.
So basically it would be like a paid vacation for me.
Ah, dude, you live by yourself now. You can do whatever you want for Christmas.
Now don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, that's the camera. I was looking at the microphone as if the microphone was the camera. I'm like looking up like, hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. I gotta look where I'll be heard, you know? Not look where I'll be seen.
That's right. I totally lost my train of thought. I have no idea what I was talking about, but I think I was just about to end. So, thank you for watching. Hope you maybe learned a little something. Reviewing this stuff kind of just helps me learn and remember what I'm supposed to be doing differently. So that's why I'm kind of doing this video. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, like old boy said. That's my cousin Chase. And we'll see you in the next video.